For Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
Tuesday, and it is 80 degrees already. However, that feels good compared to like 105, so it's not bad at all. Anyway, hope everything's going well for you. Here at the flagship station of the We Do Radio Network, 2520 Murchison Road. Brother Troy going to have a call coming in at 8:15. Going to be talking to some county elected official, talk some business with them, and then we'll proceed on. Anyway, again, though, 35% chance of rain today, 65% chance tomorrow, Thursday 85, Friday 85, Saturday 85, and Sunday 70, and Monday again, all the way back to Monday, 40%. So hopefully we can escape some of this drought that we're in, and, for people that are out there that have gardens and all those kind of things, and, your grass just popping green. Isn't it interesting? This stuff, Reverend Paul is our producer this morning. Everything will look dead. I mean, it'll look completely dead. Man, that rain hit it, and now you're green again. I mean, it's the Lord, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the Lord. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, really. But a number of people still doing their things. Whenever I ever advertised the Bell Seed store, I was down there on last week, and man, people are down there getting their stuff, and they rolling around getting stuff, man. I mean, it's nice, man. So you gotta go down there. If you haven't been down there, you gotta go down there. People are, but people that are interested in that kind of thing. Now okra, for those you okra lovers, they can handle dry, tough weather. So if you can deal with that, then you can handle that. But that's what's going on. So the political season is going to be keying up shortly here, and you're going to be seeing those political ads, and they're going to be everywhere. And look, just hold on, you'll get through it. I know. Look, there are some people say, I just can't stand that. I can't stand that. Look, it's okay. I understand, but we got to get through this. This is what they call the midterms. And so somebody was telling me about one of our congressional people said, man, they're running some tough ads against this person. I said, man, you're going to expect that. That's just going to happen. You're not going to be able to get around that. That's the way it's going to be. They're going to attack each other. They're going to tell you this person is the worst thing ever. And but that's just the way it goes. So I was telling Reverend Paul about this because now I'm about like another friend of mine. I have Netflix, but I don't watch Netflix a lot. And it's called Hawk. Now you gotta watch this series. I watched it after church Sunday, came home, had something to eat, and I binge watched that. I think it's maybe 7, 8 different episodes or whatever. They're not for 30 minutes. But it is hilarious. It's funny. Language is a little salty, so you don't want little children to be watching it. But still, it's really funny. Will Ferrell, that comedian, he does that. And that was really funny. I was like, wow, I'm glad somebody told me about that. I wanted to see that. I think they were advertising that. I think they were talking about that on the news, saying, you might want to binge watch this. And that's what I did. I binge watched that. And that was, Reverend Paul, it was funny. It's funny. Because this guy, well, I'm not going to give away what the theme is and all that. But look, it's about golf, certainly. And if you play golf, you know, you can relate to everything that's going on in the show. Do you play golf, Reverend Paul?
No, I don't. Even though I have clubs for days, that's something that I want to get on at some point in time. I just haven't made time to even practice.
Look now. Well, look. You know, Wes is a pretty good golfer.
Okay.
And so, you know, Wes and I, we go out there and get a bucket of balls, man. Be hitting them, boom, boom, boom. You're not that far from, which though you live in Hope Mills though. I'm trying to think the closest driving range to you. I don't know. Where's the closest driving range to you?
I'm not sure.
But you know, I'm telling you, man, I just love it, brother. Get out there, hit them balls. I be slicing big time. So they got this one club that's supposed to say, "Oh man, you buy this this driver $300, you will not slice them." Like, I'm not sure that I don't want to slice $300 worth.
Right.
But this guy said, "No man, just get you a golf instructor and pay him, man. You know, you fix your swing, you know." And but every year, what we do is we've been in the Billy West tournament, which he has the second Thursdays at Gates 4.
Right.
And it's fun, man. I'm sure it's fun. But look, there's some of the females, bro. They beat you in the ground.
Yeah, I definitely know some females that golf from Robeson County. So, yeah, it's something that, as a matter of fact, there's another pastor friend of mine, and we've been talking about. Now, he's beaten me to the punch as far as going to the shooting range or swinging range.
Right.
But we have yet to get on, you know, to do any 9 holes or 18 holes. So.
Yeah. Now, so now, have you tried that thing? You know, what's the guy? It's right on the tip of my tongue, but they got one in Durham.
Top Golf.
Top Golf, yeah. Now, that is interesting because my daughter took me to Top Golf in Pompano Beach, Florida. Said, "Dad, this, da. I go out there, and she was, you know, it's got all these things. You go up there, and you sitting up. You know, they got a lower level and a high level.
Right.
And you knocking the ball out there. And then wherever the ball lands in one of these little things, you get points.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm trying to knock the ball all the way to the back, you know.
Yeah.
She's like, Dad, don't do that. If you hit him right there, you get all these points. I don't want to do that. I want to hit the ball all the way to the back. You just like my boyfriend, and he got mad when I beat him. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I mean, you know, but Top Golf, I said, man, I wonder how much it would take. You know, that's how my mind works. I say, what would it take to have a Top Golf? Man, those franchises are expensive, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have like a whole lot of money. It's like millions of dollars backing you to do a Top Golf franchise. And it's a little expensive to get in there, you know, but not overly expensive. But, you know, it's a nice thing. And you got little kids, too, because they can hit the balls. Everybody's in there.
Yeah.
But there's one up in Durham, and I want to get a couple guys, man. You ought to roll up with us. Us guys go up and roll up there one day and play some Top Golf.
Yeah. What is the season for golfing?
Year round.
Okay. So,
now, Gib Bay is a big golfer as well.
Okay.
So I mean, they'll put on sleeves and everything and go out there and play too. You know, when it gets a little cooler. You see what I'm saying? But what happens with golf is that they go to where they can play. You know what I mean? They
gotcha.
They go to where the warmth is. You know? So.
Now you may mention that Wes is a good golfer, so that kind of lets me know that your golfing skills are not at his level.
Oh no, look! I'm honest. I don't lie about this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm gonna tell the truth. Look, bro. I'm out there just to have fun, and so look. I don't want to hit anybody.
Okay.
Or hit anybody's house. You know what I'm saying? But most times I stay out the rough. You know what I mean? So we're playing what they call Captain's Choice, which is best ball.
Okay.
So it's a team, 2 people each on a golf course, and the person that has the best ball, then everybody goes to that spot, and that's where you make your next shot from.
Oh,
So
okay.
look, if I'm out there, we play 18 holes.
Yeah.
If I get best ball, a time or 2.
Yeah.
If I get to the, when we get to the green, because most time I'm generally the least skilled player,
Right.
they let me shoot first, so they'll see how the ball breaks.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
They kept saying, which way, if it's gonna go left, right, or whatever. And I mess around and I make one of those. You think I'm Tiger Woods? You know what I mean? I'm jumping up, down, hollering, screaming. So,
Okay.
that's how I see it. I mean, I don't allow my ego to be in stuff
Yeah.
that I know I'm not good at that. Now I have a friend. I call her name. Her name is Elaine Bowser. Man, we both used to work for the sheriff's department back in the day, but she's from Valdosta, Georgia. Lady can play, bro.
Oh, wow.
Them boys be mad at her when they strike right there. She used to go out there and beat them up, and they
Wow.
would be mad, man, but she can play.
Okay.
She can seriously play.
Now, Coach Bricky plays.
I've been out there with him too. So he was on the team one year. He and I'm trying to think of the brother Harris. It was the dry cleaner guy Harris. That was his nephew.
Okay.
But there were other 2 people, and then Wes and I were there.
Okay.
And so but look, I slice it so bad, so I know when I'm trying to hit it that way, I just point it that way, and I'm gonna slice it to the direction.
Now, is your swing like Charles Barkley?
Not that bad.
Okay.
Charles Barkley has a terrible swing. I'm
Yes, he
not
does.
that bad. I'm not that bad.
Okay.
I'm not that bad.
Wow.
But it's crazy. It's real crazy. But
Wow.
a lot of fun though. I mean, I'm saying we just have fun out there, And but understand something. I tell people, I say, look, we're out there on those golf carts. If you're playing in the PGA, you got to walk them 18 holes, bro. And if you keep winning, that's 4 days.
Yeah.
Now you have a caddy carrying your clubs, but you got to walk those 18 holes. That's no small feat.
And look, I've seen where, of course you remember, Michael Jordan would play 18 holes
Yeah, right.
in between, playoff games.
Right.
And so, and a lot of the athletes, they take that on as a second, as they're trying to build up their skills.
Right.
So it's definitely something that is really considered a sport, opposed to so many other things that come on ESPN. I don't know if you watch some of the other ESPN channels, but they have some of the ridiculous type things as sports.
Yeah.
I saw one where there was a bubble gum bubble contest.
Blowing bubbles.
Yeah, blowing bubbles.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I just. But anyway, though, this is we have our commissioner chair here. He's on the road, but he's been gracious enough to join in with me for a couple of minutes. Good morning, Kirk. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Appreciate the flexibility this morning.
Yeah, man. Nah, brother, we understand, man. You gotta do that family thing and take the time to do all that. We would say you're talking about golf. Do you play golf a little bit?
I play a little bit.
Yeah, well, I could say, man, we have fun at the DA's tournament in September every year. I love to get you guys out there, man. We have some fun out there. I mean,
DA West, Billy West has a great tournament every year. He's been doing that a long time.
Yeah, he has. So, got the morning group and then you got the afternoon group. But I just, like I said, I love being out there. I'm trying to get Wes out there. He didn't go out last year because of, the situation with his wife and everything. But I need to drag him out there so we can swing at some balls. And, of course, I played the course with him on Kings Grant. They got a good course as well. But
They do. They've got a nice little course.
right. So, but anyway, a lot of stuff going on, man. You know, I thought about something, bro. You know, North Carolina is the third fastest growing state in this country. That's pretty dynamic.
There's a lot going on with the economic growth you're seeing and some of the kind of the central core of North Carolina. That's bringing a lot of new faces in. And then, of course, you know, with our weather compared to the north, you're getting a lot of people move down from, you know, the New England area, New York, New Jersey area. And then just really as people transition and exit from the military, you're getting a lot of folks that are just staying right here in North Carolina.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, you know, well, I'm saying that hopefully, though, we got to find a way for that to translate into getting us out of Tier 1 and improving our economic situation here in Fayetteville, Cumberland County, you know? To be in a state that is the third most growing state in the nation, we ought to be doing better. I guess we're number 6 or 7 metro now, something like that in the state.
Yeah, 6, I believe. But, yeah, I mean, we continue to have work to do. I mean, it's also about making sure that, you know, the opportunities that we're creating here, we're also creating, you know, a location for people to stay and raise a family as well.
Correct.
So we don't just want to have people create the jobs that are here and then they go home to, you know, Moore County, Wake County, somewhere else. You know, we want them to live right here and enjoy the amenities and be in our schools and, you know, spend their tax dollars locally and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think you guys have done a great job with the schools, particularly with funding them. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this develops. Now, it's my understanding that statewide, people are moving away from public schools. That's not a thing just for our community here. However, you know, with people moving away from public schools, still, I think that the public schools need to be doing things that will attract people and want people to have their kids in public schools.
Yeah, you know, parents are making a choice, and I think, you know, we saw that really affect on during COVID when our public schools were closed, probably, in my opinion, longer than they should have been. And it's something that I argued when I was in the state senate at the time. But and I think that just caused, you know, some people either transition to homeschool or transition to a private school, whether it was a private religious school or just a private school. And I think some of them didn't come back, you know, and now with increased opportunities, you know, with some of the opportunity scholarships, that provides some inroads to people that may have not had the opportunity to try a public or a private school because of the cost. You know, but I really think it boils down to, you know, in our school systems, we've got to make those investments so that we've got the level of quality, not just the teaching, but also the facilities that we want to have our children in. And, you know, and we've got to do a better job of that. We can point our fingers everywhere we want, but at the local level, we've got some certain things that we've got to do. And you've seen the county board do some of that over the last 2 years. I mean, investing $610 million is a step in the right direction. We need to continue to do as much more as we can. But you've got to have, if you're going to keep kids in school, you've got to have a good product, and you've got to invest in that product to make sure that the school system can, you know, provide that sound basic education, or people are going to homeschool. You know, there's a lot going on at schools, whether you talk about school safety or just the facilities, especially in Cumberland County. And so people are choosing to homeschool, private school, and we've just got to make the opportunities in public school better and more competitive. You know, when you look at things like sports and you know, some of these clubs, whether it's the STEM clubs or the technology clubs and things like that, really try to anchor around some of those things as well. but we've got to make the core investments, and I think you're starting to see us do that. But it takes a little while to turn the ship.
I agree. You know, it was interesting. I met a retired '05, which is you understand that, right? Because you was
Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah, right. He and I were talking, and very interesting conversation. You know, he was dressed up like he was a golf guy, and we just struck up a conversation. And he lives on my side of town, and you know, it was interesting though. His conversation was about, we got into the school things because he's a grandfather now, and he was talking about, you know, the challenges that they're experiencing in school with all of, I say, the cultural stuff. People need to realize that that's a turnoff to a lot of people, and that's one of the reasons why people are pulling their children out of schools as well. You know, is they don't want the kids being exposed to some of the things that the public schools are allowing, that they used to not allow.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, it's just like anything. You know, parents make a choice, whether it's a choice to go to this school or go to that school. They're looking for what they believe is in the best interest of their child. I mean, you know, when I look at Jenny and I with Gray, I mean, we choose to have him in a public school right now. He's getting a good, you know, base of education. He's starting 4th grade next year, and you know, we choose to do that. You know, it's a quality. You know, we've got a good school that we attend, and it's got you know, great programs and a good foundation. So we choose to make that. I think, you know, we've got to continue to look to be more competitive. It's just like, I mean, Troy, it's just like, you know, WIDU and a radio station. You got to continue to have the right programming. You got to continue to stay competitive. And now with the public school system, you've got more options. And I would say you watch our homeschool that are just continuing to grow and grow. I mean, every time I turn around, I hear somebody talking about that they're homeschooling their children. I was at a community meeting the other night, and 2 of the individuals sitting at the table I was sitting at were talking about homeschooling, and they both were homeschooling their children. I think, you know, people are just making a choice now, and our public school system has to continue to be competitive and have those things, you know, like the sports, like the technology clubs, like the STEM clubs, like the arts in school and those types of things, as well as those connected pathways to, you know, our higher learning, like FTCC and in the trades and in nursing and in medical, or to FSU or to Methodist. I think we got to continue to, you know, make it more competitive and more viable for parents.
I think, though, one thing, though, Commissioner, is that we realize that all schools in the system are not the same. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So,
You're
of
right.
course, you know, I think I know where Gray attends school, so that's a different school than some other schools inside the system, you know. That's, you know, I know this guy, he's a college professor, and, you know, he actually bought another house somewhere else just to have his son in the best public school. You know, he just, you know, he wasn't satisfied.
But again, those are parents making choices.
But, you know,
he could have chose to, you know, send his child to a private school or homeschool, but he chose to move and be in the public school system. You know, I'll say, you know, with Gray, you know, Gray's been at 2 different schools in the Cumberland County school system so far, and they haven't been any of the low performing schools that we see.
That's my point.
But they've had their, you know, they do have their challenges.
Yeah, none of them are perfect. But my question is this, though, Commissioner. What about those parents that can't make those choices because they're just not economically feasible for them to buy a new house across town or to provide their child with an alternative? They really don't have any alternative. They are the ones that are locked into some of these low-performing schools, and they're stuck there, sir.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and that's why I think you've seen, you know, over the last 2 years, at least 2 budget cycles, this county board has said, you know, schools are a focus. we made it part of our strategic plan. It's never been part of a county government strategic plan before. But we clearly understand that if we're going to produce a workforce, if we're going to recruit people to live here, if we want our children to have the opportunities to succeed in life and be better off than their parents, and lift themselves to better, through that economic ladder, we've got to have quality schools. Because you're right, while there are opportunities, while there are paths like opportunity scholarships, you still have to, even with an opportunity scholarship, you still got to get that student to school. You still got to do, there's still a lot of pieces of that equation, which is why it's so important, especially in some of these high poverty concentrated areas, census tracts across our community, which we have about 11 of them across our county, that we've got to ensure that we're investing the right way in our public school systems, because it truly is, it helps level the playing field, and we've got to make sure we've got all the, wraparound components in the public school systems as well. We've got to make sure, especially when you look at the low performing or the schools that are in highly dense, high poverty or higher poverty census tract, we've got to make sure that we've got, the social workers in the schools, that we've got, school nurses in the schools, and we've got some of those additional connection points, not only for the students but for the parents. It's incumbent upon what we should do as county government. People talk a lot about what we shouldn't do, but there's a lot of things that we should be doing that, quite frankly, in my opinion, we haven't for years, and that's the investments in these schools. And you wonder why some of these schools are in the conditions they are, or teachers are frustrated because they weren't getting paid at a level they were, because we weren't making the investments over the years.
Right.
And we're turning that corner, but it takes time, and it takes resources, and we are still a low wealth county. Our tax base is not equal to what you see in some of the larger communities like in Orange, Wake, Mecklenburg, where we're not going to have that level of income. As we grow that tax base, we've got to continue to ensure that we make those investments in public schools and prioritize it, just like we have to do with infrastructure. If we don't invest in infrastructure, we're not going to be able to grow our community, because we're not going to have locations, both residential and industrial.
Sure. Well, look, I know you're on the road. Appreciate you being able to chat with me for a couple of minutes. I read your piece inside of Up and Coming Weekly. I would invite other individuals to read that as well. Pretty informative, sir. So keep up the good work. When you're doing well, they take shots at you, okay?
Yeah, you just got to, doing this for a few years, you just got to stay focused on, what's making a difference. You got to stay focused on making sure people have a better way of life in our community. We've got to, again, our schools, investing in our infrastructure and our water, in our public safety and our mental health. I just try to stay focused on that. There's a lot of noise and a lot of shots, and everybody doesn't understand, everything that's going on, and so they isolate something and take shots. And I just have learned that, if you keep your focus on the people and doing what's right by the community, you're probably going to be on the right side of the decision. So that's kind of where I try to stay focused and let some of the noise just become what it is, and it's just noise.
It is. Well, look, safe travel, sir. Thank you so much, and give my love to the wife and Greg.
I will. But I will. Talk soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be back for more of the morning show here at WIDU 1600 AM 99.7. Just got off the phone with Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Kirk Deviere, and also I'm looking forward to having the mayor in on Thursday. They take the month of July off, really. But anyway, they'll be around to chat with us about some things, and we're going to be chatting on some other things when we come back following the break.
6 new rules approved by the State Board of Elections would require an extra step from absentee voters. Voters would seal the inner envelope containing their ballot before returning it, or the ballot will be considered spoiled. Iran has attacked a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing its crew to abandon the ship. That came early today, even as the United States conducted yet another round of airstrikes targeting the Islamic Republic over control of the key waterway. After years of flooding during hurricane season, Whiteville leaders are looking to a new state planning tool that could help ensure flooding for a long-awaited flood mitigation project. President Donald Trump has imposed a 50% target tariffs on most Canadian goods, declaring that Canada is unfairly discriminated against American autos, alcohol, and dairy products. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Cumberland County, in partnership with the City of Fayetteville government and community partners, will open cooling centers on Tuesday, July 21st. Residents without access to air conditioning may visit a cooling center during normal business hours to stay cool and safe. When temperatures are high and extreme heat is in the forecast, remember the following safety measures. Drink plenty of water, stay in air-conditioned spaces when possible, avoid direct sun exposure during peak heat hours. Healthy meals help power summer adventures. Cumberland County Schools School Nutrition Services is offering free summer meals for children ages 18 and younger. Meals may be available Monday through Friday until July 31st. Children must be present and meals must be eaten at the site. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Starting out warm and muggy after some of those showers and storms that passed through yesterday. Today we're hotter. Temperatures make it well into the 90s, and we'll see some isolated showers and storms developing later in the day, most of which to our north, but scattered storms will last us into at least portions of the overnight before weakening. Highs 90 to 95 Wednesday, shower and storm chances increasing from north as we head into the evening and nighttime hours. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
As the summer heat churns on, the Fayetteville Fire Department would like to remind you to stay cool when possible. Take extra breaks when working outside, and always stay hydrated. Some people don't think about it, but if you're only drinking water when you're thirsty, you're doing it wrong. Signs of heat injury can sneak up on you, so stay cool, stay hydrated, and stay safe, Fayetteville.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hope, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
This morning we start out warm and humid, especially after all of those storms that passed through yesterday. Today, storm chances are a little bit lower. Most of those are going to be just to our north. We'll see high temperatures reach well into the 90s in the meantime. Some scattered storms will be possible as we head into the early overnight hours. Temperatures upper 70s. Highs 90 to 95 Wednesday. Most of our showers and storms coming in during the evening. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
And we're back now, 20 minutes before the top of the hour here. Last part of the hour, they were talking to Board of Commissioner member, Chairman actually, Kirk Deviere. And again, I thought he had an interesting piece in Up and Coming Weekly, talking about a couple of things. And DL is on the line now. Good morning, DL.
Good morning, Troy.
Yeah, so Reverend Paul and I was talking sports. But DL, you ought to drive down, man, and get in this tournament in September, playing golf. Do you golf?
I do the driving range. It just depends on September. Depends on what day you guys doing this thing.
It's always, I think it's the second Thursday in the month. But again, and then we were talking about chess. Do you play chess?
Man, I ain't played chess in 20 years. I'm too rusty. You can do it without the clock.
No.
Hey,
That's another. I said no. We playing with the clock. That's it. That's. Reverend Paul here standing saying that. Yeah, he got thumbs up. No, we playing with the clock. Come on. Oh, but anyway though. So you heard part of what Commissioner Deviere was saying and talking about. My question or challenge deal is this right here though. When people talk about that. There are always schools within a system that are better than other schools. And if these people that are indigent, their children are trapped in these low-performing schools and they can't get out, that's just not a good situation.
Yeah, it's all about finances. If you're able to, think about it. If you stay off Street with T.C. Barry in that area and you're live below the poverty level, you just might not have the resources to up and move out to a newer school district such as the ones in the western part of the county. You just don't have those types of resources. They're talking about the schools in Blade County where they did an article in City View where majority black public schools often the first on the chopping block. And so the situation in Blade County is that the location of the school, the principal has to drive a bus. They can't keep a full staff, and the repairs are exceedingly high. In public, the enrollment is going down across the state, not just Cumberland County and Blake County. It's across the county. And school boards have to make decisions.
Hell, you still there? Okay, I lost him. But anyway, though, I would agree with that. That is true that enrollment is down across the board, and don't know what. Well, I think there's a number of things that play a part in it. And like I was saying, this retired officer I was talking to, he was talking about the culture of these schools. The schools ought to be for the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, even though we know there's no such thing as arithmetic now. But still, I think the schools should be the basics to educate our children so that they can become productive citizens. But when we have a situation where these schools are turning into social experiments, I don't blame it. Look, I didn't want my child in that. And I think a lot of people don't want their kids into that. And I think that we're just being a little either blind or either dishonest if you can't see that's what's going on in some of these environments, and people don't want that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because
back to
right. Go ahead.
Yeah. What I was saying is that it's unfortunate as it is, but it's also some situations where school boards are trying to move your children to a better school, and folks want to hold on to the past. And I get it, the nostalgia and everything. West Charlotte, which is a historically black school in the western part of Charlotte near John C. Smith University, they were able to tear down their school and build on the same location because they had a lot of land off Davies Ford Road, so they were able to keep that going. But you should want new technology for your students, and you tend to get that when you build newer schools or have to remove them to another location. I know kind of the logistics of it is bad because you might not have transportation where you near a school that was in proximity to your residence. But it's a tough decision. Board of Education has some tough decisions to make across the state. It's because population is dwindling, and folks want to talk about charter schools. Well, we know who started charter schools in the mid-'90s. They were started by the lawmakers that were in control, and that would have been the Democrats in Raleigh. And now they kind of caught on like wildfire. Now they want to put that genie back in the bottle, throw it, and it's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not a fan of busing either. I mean, there are some people say, oh, we just need to bus these kids over so that we can create a racial dynamic or an economic dynamic, because they're saying, well, they're looking at the number of youngsters that are in schools that are getting free lunch, and I'm not talking against that. I was a free lunch kid when I grew up. But I'm going to give you an example. So at one time, the youngsters that were living in Southeast Raleigh, that's over there around Saunders Street, if you're familiar with Raleigh, that area of Raleigh.
Yes.
Man, they were busting those kids all the way to Apex. Apex. Because it's still in Wake County. You know what I'm saying? Now, see, my challenge is this right here, is that when a child is bused that far, okay, when a child is bused that far, how is a parent going to get to a parent-teacher conference in Wake County like that? You in Southeast Raleigh, whatever. And Deal, if you're there, try the 6111 line. Call back on that. Call back on the 611 line. But that's my challenge there. You see what I'm saying? That, you don't want to do that. I mean, you're making it very hard for a youngster, their parents and everything, to deal with that. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but that's what I say. Okay, you back, bro. But so Deal, that's what I'm saying is that, man, that's ridiculous. I mean, because I'm thinking about an indigent parent having to go all the way to Apex for a parent-teacher meeting, and you in Southeast Raleigh. But that's the kind of situation that busing creates.
Yeah, and kids were having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get home at 6. They were sleeping on the bus, and they were tired. And I'm glad they got rid of that in Raleigh after 2010. No. And it was mostly, it was people who didn't have a dog in the fight were ones that were pushing it. Most parents, felt like their kids could, as long as you gave them the same opportunities with teachers and resources, and it's not about the building that's teaching the kids. It's about that parent, that teacher, and making sure they have the same resources as the other schools do. And contrary to what folks believe, most of these kids don't have textbooks anymore. And what you want from your kids, especially at the high school level. Now, here's where it gets tricky at Troy, and that's why I like Zoom. For instance, you talk about the AP classes. If in a school you don't have enough children to have an advanced math or science, you're not going to have that course for 1 or 2 kids. So here's what has to happen. That now that you have Zoom, you can put that kid online in that school in a learning center with some other students across the county or wherever. That's my only issue when it comes to at the high school level, because you don't get advanced courses. I think in elementary school you have the gifted and talented. I know they take kids out of class, and when I substituted elementary, when those kids are exceedingly smart, they sometimes remove them from that class like a hour or 2 to make sure they're meeting those needs, because they're way ahead of those kids in the elementary school. As well as they remove kids out of school who are struggling in elementary school to give them that extra assistance with the school. They call them school resource teachers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking at, though, the youngsters. I look at several school systems, and you can go to this information for the Department of Public Instruction. Anybody can see it, if you have the time or the interest in it. these virtual schools, though, DL, a lot of them are the low-performing schools.
Well, the only thing I can say, well, you mean, well, the situation I was talking about is just an exception for folks who can't get what they need, those AP courses at that high school level. That's what I was talking about. Now,
Sure,
the virtual schools,
right.
yeah, now the virtual schools, they tend, some of them tend to have students who are being kicked out traditional school, or they may be pregnant, or they just can't work in an environment where it's more structured. So, they changed over the years, because you used to have evening school. Douglas Byrd, I remember when that started in the late 90s, Douglas Byrd Evening Academy. And so that's morphed into a number of different types of schools, because Douglas Byrd had the only evening academy in Cumberland County in the late 90s.
Yeah, I think they had also other courses with the community college, because I took a Coast Guard course over there for boating on campus at night at Douglas Byrd too. So that's they had other stuff going on as well.
Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, from the high school, from the public K-12, they had that evening academy over there. Yeah, virtual's probably changed now. Well, if the numbers, I hadn't looked at the numbers, if what you're saying is true, I can just imagine why some of the students are on virtual learning, because nothing beats in-person learning. I don't care what grade you are, unless you're homeschooling, and you're still being taught. But in-person K-12 is the way to go.
Right. Well, I feel like that, what's interesting, though, and I saw this data, and matter of fact, this data was done by, it shouldn't matter, but this guy was attached to the Church of Latter-day Saints. And I was talking about this Sunday in church. So 53% of Americans don't read above the 6th grade level.
Whoa.
30% don't read past the 3rd or 4th grade level, because people don't read anymore. And it was talking about, this guy, the way he was setting it up, is talking about how much it impacts everything, to include people that go to church, faith believers, because people watch podcasts and they watch little whatever, you know what I mean? Snapchat, whatever. I mean, they look at all of that stuff, and that's what they leave away believing that's the gospel. And nobody's taking the time to read anything. It said, if you can find people now that read at least one book a year, it's almost a miracle. Because they don't read. Well, the devil knew what he was doing when he made up social media, especially Facebook and Instagram. That's the way it tells on you at the end of the week. Most of them set up. Your phone tells you your screen time. You get those messages. Yeah, but now, but screen time could be you reading something too. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to read. I agree with you, but for me, I have to get away reading. I have to go to a desktop. It's just, I see why my grandmother, when I was growing up, she had that magnifying glass. I can't read constantly on a cell phone. It just takes too long. I have to have bold print. I got what you're saying, but understand this now. I see now people like the New York Times, even the Federal Observer, or Up and Coming, Weekly, whoever, they can tell what type of device that you're using to read their material. And long time running, with all of the subscriptions to Washington Post, New York Times, most people are reading those newspapers on a mobile phone, not even an iPad. And the downside to folks not being able to read is you tend to believe what somebody else is telling you. That's and I know we get ready to get out of here. Case in point, when it comes to early voting centers, when it comes to voting laws in North Carolina, currently in North Carolina, Troy, you don't have to show a proof of citizenship. You have to have a valid North Carolina ID. That is it. I don't want to hear about what
might happen down the road. What you do when you put out misinformation, the boogeyman is coming. You discourage folks who might vote for your party not to come out. And you manipulate our young folks because you tell them that they're taking away your early voting sites at these black colleges, and it's most of your early voting sites are based on numbers, not historical locations and whatnot. So I had to throw that in there because we're heading down the road, stretch run, in this 26 election. So, folks, just make sure you register to vote with a valid ID. That's all you need to vote.
But look, they're crazy, man. I hear stuff like you say, if you don't vote for me, you're going to be picking cotton. I mean,
yeah.
I hate to laugh at that, but that's how silly they have become. But guess what? Somebody believes that.
Well, here's my thing, Troy. I don't care who you vote for. It's your right. Hey, it's up to you if you want to study your candidate or whatever. But stop spreading misinformation. And what bothers me the most, though, is that, remember when the Board of Elections, they were leasing that building, or something happened to the building, so they couldn't have it as an early voting site. They used Smith Recreation Center. And then once they were good to go at the Board of Elections, they closed that down because it was too close. It was close to downtown, so you're not going to have Smith and the Board of Elections as early voting centers. And they made that was a lie that was put out there to say they're trying to suppress the black vote at the school. And I know it's symbolic to vote near HBCU, but to me that's divisive, and it was terrible the way that was framed because it was a lie.
Yeah, well, trying to inject fear into prospective supporters or voters of things, that's what they do. They tell seniors like me, they're gonna take your Social Security, and then they're going out and tell the poor people they're gonna take your food stamps.
Hey, them people in the eastern part of the county, coming from Stedman and Wade, oh my goodness, they got to drive a long ways to vote to vote. Now those folks are the only ones to me that have a leg to stand on, and it's too much transportation these days to make sure folks who don't have transportation can vote. We have too many resources compared to what you old folks had. Well, you wasn't voting in the 60s anyway, so,
That's all right. I hope you get old one day, and I hope I'm long enough to live to see it, DL. I want you to have gray hair or either no hair, like the rest of us. But like Reverend Paul said, I was teasing him about it. I said, well, man, you bald too. He said, but look, brother, I'm bald by choice, not by force.
Hey, I hate this. Man, I'm getting off social media. They be having those commercials, and they had this woman on last night. You are 50-some years old. You only have so many days left. I'm like, man, who wants to hear this? I'm like Fred Sanford. I don't want to talk about getting old. I just want to live day at a time.
I heard that. Praise God. But look, man, we got to get out of here. The 9 o'clock's coming in. Reverend Dr. Antonio Jones, District 3, Fayetteville. So, I got to get out of here. But look, he's my brother now because, look, he sings with Dr. Jones and the Jones Brothers, and I'm the guitarist. So
all right.
I know he ain't going to be hard on me. Well, look here. I appreciate you, DL. And all of you all, thank you all so much for tuning in and listening this morning. Coming up next, you're going to have Reverend Dr. Antonio Jones. As I stated, he is city councilman from District 3, City of Fayetteville. So stick around for that show. And we're going to be out of here. You guys have a great day on today. It's going to be raining, sporadic storms. But now, look, when you hear thunder, there is lightning. And man, last night it was banging hard, but it was like somebody was throwing hand grenades, man. I'm telling you, it was loud. I was wondering how the dog didn't say anything, so I thought he was okay. But boy, I'm telling you, Reverend Paul, it was loud last night. I know Reverend Jones, he probably heard it too, because he's close to where I am, man. You would thought they was shooting them howitzers out there at Fort Bragg, man. I'm telling you, it was loud. But I didn't worry about it. I said, God got this. I'm going to lay right here, okay? We out here, guys. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.